Here are the stories we're covering this week in the Category 5.tv newsroom. Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp experienced outages on Sunday, which brought down their systems worldwide for over 2 hours. Now, single point of failure is being blamed, and we're looking at decentralized solutions like Bitcoin for an answer. Microsoft has admitted that its Outlook.com security breach was worse than the company initially revealed. Sony has finally released the details about its upcoming PlayStation 5 console. And we've got a sneak peek of the Nintendo theme park opening next year. And yes, it has real-life Mario Kart. These stories are coming right up. Don't go anywhere.
This is the Category 5.tv newsroom, covering the week's top tech stories with a slight Linux bias.
Jeff Weston,
Yeah, man.
you're building a brand new, beautiful website,
What?
aren't you?
No. Am I?
Oh, you're a terrible actor.
What?
This is where acting comes into play.
Oh, I didn't know we were acting.
You're supposed to act.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
I'm building a really cool website. Are you building a really cool website? Just because Jeff is confused doesn't mean you have to be. Visit cat5.tv/dreamhost to sign up for unlimited web hosting for your website with unlimited email accounts, MySQL databases, the latest version of PHP, WordPress, and more, and even a free domain name registration. It's less than $6 per month, so sign up today. cat5.tv/dreamhost.
I'm Sasha Rickman, and here are the top stories we're following this week. Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp experienced outages on Sunday, which brought down their systems worldwide for over 2 hours. Now, single point of failure is being blamed, and we're looking at decentralized solutions like Bitcoin for an answer. Part of the problem with many of the online services we use today is that they run on centralized servers. Technology giants are stockpiling data on our activity in massive warehouses without colossal servers. All of our online services and websites today wouldn't be able to run. It's no surprise then that they so often can fall victim to outages. Once a centralized server fails, the entire system fails until it is properly repaired. In the case of Facebook, an outage also means downtime for both Instagram and WhatsApp users. It's a serious liability that a single point of failure could potentially shut down 3 of the most used social media services. Decentralization has the adverse effect of always being available. As Twitter user at Ramp Capital LLC humorously tweeted, Bitcoin never suffered a worldwide outage. It's a valid point. Bitcoin has been continuously running since it was first released over 10 years ago. It's gone through complete price collapse twice, hard forks, harsh wars, media cycles, and all kinds of inner disputes. Such controversy would likely kill any kind of centralized project from the get-go. Yet Bitcoin has not stopped mining blocks and has continued to run non-stop ever since the very first block. That's an achievement that no centralized server can even hold a candle to. Of course, blockchain-based networks like Bitcoin can't handle the complexity Facebook currently serves. However, it's a real example that decentralized systems are self-regulating and self-functioning. That's because there's simply no single point of failure. That fact that the Bitcoin can stay resilient for over a decade without experiencing a single outage is a testament that decentralization works.
So true. I think about like how I'm using BitTorrent.
Yeah.
In order to decentralize the downloads of NEMS Linux.
Right.
And some folks don't quite get that yet. I'm still getting people saying, oh, well, I want a direct download, which is a single point of failure. But if things are on BitTorrent, and big files like images of NEMS Linux, for example, it doesn't matter if my server's down. It doesn't matter if such and such servers are down because there's 30 of them.
Right.
And it's decentralized and it'll just grab from whatever one it's available on. And if the internet could also similarly take that approach, it's difficult because the technology maybe isn't quite there yet. I mean, we've got content distribution networks is probably the closest I can come up with to that, like being able to have your content on many different cloud servers,
Right.
and then serving up from whichever one is available. That's kind of close, but
I'd assume that since this outage, Facebook is going to change its ways. Because I think being down for 2 hours with, Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook,
That's it. Yeah.
right? Like, that's a lot of unhappy millennials. And that,
It's tough too when a company builds itself up to the point where it owns all those and okay, we're going to put it on our infrastructure. So now we own Instagram.
Right.
So let's put it on our Facebook infrastructure. Well, then what happens, right?
right. And the truth of the matter is, I mean, they're also a service that has branded itself to be addictive. Like, it's made itself so that people want to be checking it all the time. Some things you could go 2 hours without checking. When I was on Facebook, that was least like me. I was on it all the time. So 2 hours,
Certain
I would
services,
notice.
though? Yeah, and certain services, like you think about Google, for example. Well, Google,
Oh man, if they went down for 2 hours.
well, they're provisioning. Basically, they are to a lot of novice internet users who don't quite understand how URLs work. Google is the internet.
The internet, yeah.
Essentially, and that's to a non-savvy computer user. But also, a lot of businesses are using them for email. When Outlook.com went down, guess what? Loads of businesses
Oh
were
my
affected,
goodness, yeah.
and not just Outlook. Like, you're looking, like, not just email, but also calendaring, shared files, things like that. All of a sudden, becoming unavailable. So, single
Right.
point of failures are a really big, catastrophic issue for business. I think where it's tough. I mean, we're dealing this week with a customer server who, again, on site has a single point of failure. They've got their file server, and the file server's motherboard died.
Right.
Oh.
Okay.
And so now we have no access to our file sharing.
Ooh.
But that's on site. So we know, okay, well, it's on the hard drives. The data's there. We can get up and running. We can move the data onto other servers and actually have access to it, or we can restore it to another file sharing server and be able to access it. But when it's in the cloud, it's just, oh, it was up one moment and now it's not.
Right.
Where's my data? Where is that?
Right.
How
Yeah.
can I stopgap to the point where, okay, so that motherboard in the main server needs to be replaced. Well, okay, well, we can pull a drive and we can plug it into another computer and boot it up and share those files to you. Well, that's great. That's a stopgap. But where's the stopgap when it comes to a cloud-based service where if it's down, it's just down? You have no access to it. You can't pull a drive and move it onto another server.
Yeah, and if
It's
you
just
can't
not
get a hold
available.
of that cloud service company, you're
And you
waiting on
can't.
them.
Yeah.
I challenge you to give a call to Google. Call up Facebook. Give Facebook a call and see if you can get support.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Don't they not have phone numbers listed?
Even if you found a phone number, you're not going to get a hold of anyone. And if you did, they're not going to
Yeah.
be helpful. And that's a big part of it's a problem.
Yeah.
That the biggest companies that rule our world with all these technologies cannot be gotten a hold of.
Right.
If the services are down, so say email, how would you then get a hold of someone who only
has email.
has email?
Well, I mean, you think about when we've had power outages because of weather and stuff, and
Yeah.
cell towers are down. I mean, how? And I realize that's a localized issue to that cell tower, but you have no cell signal for people who use data on their phones, and most people have gotten away from, in some cases, computers at home. They're doing everything on their tablets and all that now.
Yeah.
So it's like, if all that disappears, how do you reach anybody?
Yeah.
And we've kind of got to this point in society where, it's like the lights would go out and people used to walk across the roads like, hey, your lights are out. Is everything okay? Now it's like, we've got nothing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then they sit there and freak out.
We're very dependent as well. And I think maybe that's what has to shift. Maybe our dependency has to shift a little bit in that if things were offline, could we continue operating or at least be sensitive enough to the fact that it's offline?
Yeah.
Here in Canada, when the power was out
Oh.
for, 48 hours?
Yes.
Years ago.
It
This
was
many
years
ago.
ago.
Here in Canada, when the power is
It affected the country.
It was
but it wasn't the whole
incredible.
country.
It was-
But
quite
it
broad.
affected the whole country.
Practically all of Ontario, which is a massive
Wasn't it
amount
the
of...
east side, I think? Because it had to do that was the big transformer explosion in New York or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And like the whole
The domino
eastern
effect.
seaboard just kind of gone.
All I know is I couldn't shop at Walmart.
Yeah. It was
But-
because of a squirrel, I think.
It was, yes.
I think it was a squirrel that
But when
blew
that kind of
up.
stuff happens, it's like, okay, we can either choose to come together and work together,
Right.
and come up with solutions, or we can freak out.
Oh, exactly.
Really, and let's not freak out. Let's work together, and I think, you know, I see that when servers go down and stuff, and
Yeah.
customers are patient, and okay, we understand that this is something that needs to be worked through. So let's be those people that, you know, okay, well, I understand this is going to take time,
Right.
and let's let people do their jobs, and I think that's going to maybe make things a little easier to cope with.
Probably most of the people needed a 2-hour break from Facebook anyway. Like,
But
In
where are
this
they going to
case,
post their
yeah.
food pics?
yeah,
Twitter.
that's true.
Okay.
Twitter's not owned by Facebook yet.
Yet.
See how I did that?
Microsoft has admitted that its Outlook.com security breach was worse than the company initially revealed. The software maker started notifying some Outlook.com users late on Friday night that a hacker was able to access accounts for months earlier this year. Microsoft's notification revealed that the hacker could have viewed accounts, email addresses, folder names, and subject lines of emails. But in a separate notification to other affected users, the company also admitted email contents could have been viewed. Microsoft discovered that a support agent's credentials were compromised for its webmail service, allowing unauthorized access to some accounts between January 1st and March 28th, 2019. Motherboard claims the accounts could have been used by the hackers to reset iCloud accounts linked to stolen iPhones. So far, Microsoft is refusing to reveal how many accounts were affected.
Another hack attack.
It's like, I feel like this is every week. It's like, okay,
right,
what do we say?
now.
It's like, oh, that's shocking, unbelievable. No, it's believable. It happens all the time.
Here's the thing now.
Yeah.
So it's saying that people are being notified if they've been affected. Just assume if you have Outlook.com that you've probably been affected. And then just make that assumption. Also make the assumption if you have any email anywhere that probably at some point you too will be affected. So make sure that you remember that sensitive information shouldn't go in emails.
But yet it does. And your contacts, right?
Yeah.
We just had a conversation about how the world seems to revolve around social media and all these services that, you know, big business owns. And then it's like, oh, so don't put sensitive where do you put it? Carrier pigeons?
Right.
Like,
Why, yes, Jeff.
you know, do we go back to the espionage days of like a little chalk mark on a fire hydrant and
Exactly.
look at that.
Don't
How do you
The
send
only
that?
safe place.
That's right.
don't
Data
be
Traveler 2000
Yeah.
from Kingston Technology.
You know,
Yeah.
the sad thing about this story is from a company the size of Microsoft, you would think
That's it.
that they would A, have noticed this earlier, and B,
fessed up.
will be a little bit more open about how many people were impacted.
Your approach, though, Jeff, is like you would think that Microsoft would do better. Well, that's the problem. We all think Microsoft will do better.
So we have to
Google
stop
will do
thinking.
better. Facebook will do better. No,
Assume
just
the-
because of the size of the company. No, it just makes them a bigger target.
Just, assume the worst and be pleasantly surprised when you're wrong. No, like protect yourself and, you know, and make sure you check to see whether or not any of these breaches have been made.
HaveIBeenOwned.com
Yeah.
is a great service that will help you to see. I mean, but how do you, like verification.io? How many of us had information in this database that we didn't even subscribe to? We didn't
Right.
even know we were a part of. Well, we're there.
See,
3 people from my own office, and we're a small office.
really?
We're on the verification.io exploit.
wow.
And you probably were too. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah. See, what
Huge.
I like, like I have, I subscribe to a password keeper software.
Okay.
Right.
Which one do you use, if I may ask? Because that's a hot topic
I use Dashlane.
right now.
Oh.
What is it?
I use Dashlane. I buy the premium subscription
Okay.
every year, and one of the things I like about it is that they
Pay for it.
I pay for mine now,
it.
too.
I pay for it, and one of the things I do like is it has dark web monitoring, and so I regularly can go in and see if any of my information has been found on the dark web from
Okay.
any breach, and
Interesting.
it can tell me what's been stolen.
Nice.
Where
That's
it's
all
been
part of your password manager.
All part of my password manager. Tells me
Nice.
where it
Okay.
was stolen from and when it was stolen. I just got an alert the other day that one of my email accounts had popped up on a dark web breach from 3 years ago, and it was
Wow.
finally accessed in February.
Do you know why I love that in your password manager? Is it immediately prompts you to change your password. Oh,
Yes.
look at that. Dropbox was exploited, and my password from 10 years ago when I used to use
Perfect.
Dropbox was exploited. Go and change it.
Yep.
Yes. That's great.
And I like that. And it also interacts to go, okay, you have this service that was hacked at this point, and that email address is used for this other one that's been hacked. You want to make sure, like, we've checked and your passwords are similar. They're not the same, but they're similar.
Maybe they have the hashes of the password.
You
How
want
would
to-
they do that?
Well, because it's the password keeper, so it stores it within there. So, I mean, if I use like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Does it actually do that, though? Does it tell you if your password is similar on other sites?
It has told me this is a similar password. You want to change it so that they're not close.
I don't know if I like
Do you
that.
just use the password generator then?
I can use a password generator. I use it sometimes. Sometimes I have a system.
I have to explore this service, but the reason that I don't like what you're saying right now
Yep.
is because if they know that the password is similar, then they know what my password is. Any
Yes.
password manager should not know what my password is.
I
Period.
Yes, I don't know how the system works, but I do know that.
Hashes are fine. Sure, take a hashed, like, encrypted password and compare it to another one and be able to tell if it's identical.
Right.
But if it's similar, like
You
if
know
I
what?
say
maybe it is
password
that
one,
maybe it is that it's the same. I thought it was that it was similar. Maybe it is that it's the same.
let me give you the what I mean. So
Okay.
that just so it's clear. So password 123
Yep.
versus password 1234. If I know what those passwords are, I can compare them and say, oh, those are really close.
Right.
Now, if I instead have the hashes, the encrypted versions of those, they're going to be completely different.
Right.
Because they're 256-bit AES
Right.
encrypted. They are not at all similar because their binary data is completely different.
Right.
There is no connection between them, and it will never be able to tell that. If it could tell if the two passwords are exact because the hashes, the
Maybe that is what it was.
checksums will be the same.
Maybe that's what it was then.
Okay.
That they were the same.
That I would appreciate.
Yeah, I do get
Because
that alert.
If I was to find out that Dropbox was exploited, and I use that example because it was, and then it said, by the way, you are also using that password on this, and this site.
Right.
That's scary because I know that now someone else has my password, but immediately from my password manager's perspective, it shows me I need to change the passwords on those sites as well.
Right.
Right.
If I've used the same password on multiple sites.
Just
So I want to be clear about that.
Yeah, I will go home and take a look and confirm.
Okay.
But you could be right on that one because I know every once in a while I get an alert that's like, oh, you're not 100% secure anymore. You're like 99% secure because you've used the same password.
Right.
So,
And when I create my master password for a password keeper,
You remember it?
when I create the master password, that becomes part of the encryption key.
Right.
So then the password manager company themselves cannot read. They don't know what my password is because they don't know what my key is.
Yeah.
That I created that's my own private key. It's part of the hash. So they should only be able to compare checksums, not passwords.
I will confirm that.
Okay.
So, but what I do like about the service is it's cross-platform. So if I plug something in on my computer, and now uploads to my phone, so that if I go to the site on my phone, I can. It's like, oh, I
Mine
like
does that.
It's great.
LastPass does some great stuff as well. That's what I use, but I am looking for something alternative to
I
that.
love Dashlane.
LastPass recently updated themselves, and I hate it.
Yeah,
So if
I love.
LastPass is watching, the latest update is garbage.
I had LastPass for one of my email addresses. Couldn't remember my master password. Made a new email address. Forgot that password too, and I realized LastPass is not for me. Clearly, I cannot remember the password. So I
Sasha.
remember we did like episode way back, and it was like was it called Password Box?
Yeah.
And they got bought
They
out
were
by.
Intel.
That's who I'm
Intel
with.
Security.
Yeah.
So you're with Intel Security's
Yeah. What's it called? It's like a blue TrueKey, I think.
TrueKey.
TrueKey.
Yeah, that's right.
That's who I'm with because
Turkey.
I remember that password and they let me in. So I'm with them.
That's one of the cool things about Dashlane is I can set up a somebody to take over my account. Like, say I end up passing away. My wife is on the account as somebody who she can contact Dashlane to say,
Yes.
he's no longer able to access this. I don't have his master password. And she's already authorized on the account so that then after a 48-hour check, they can transition the account to her and give her
Must
access.
have dual hashing.
I don't know how it works, but I do like that service because, I mean, with all this like web-based services we use nowadays, it's like my wife's like, I don't know the passwords. I'm like, I have over 150. I don't know the passwords either, but I've
Yeah.
got the master password. And
Remember that though.
oh, I remember it.
Definitely remember your master password, folks.
Yeah. Sony has finally released the first details about its upcoming PlayStation 5 console. Gamers have been waiting patiently to find out any information about PS4's replacement, but until now, details have been kept firmly under wraps. Now, Sony's system architect Mark Cerny has released information about the next-gen console, revealing it will be much faster, more powerful, and include improved audio. Good news for avid PlayStation users, the new console will include a high-speed solid-state hard drive. While that won't mean much to a lot of people, the point of the SSD is to dramatically reduce things like loading times, which will make everyone's gaming experience a bit better. For example, when playing Spider-Man on PS4, it can take up to 15 seconds to fast travel between different locations. Cerny showed the same task just taking 800 milliseconds on the new machine.
Oh.
Another big focus for the next-gen console is 3D audio. PS5, which isn't the official name of the new console, will see gamers being immersed in audio from above, behind, and beside, and it will be best experienced through headphones. The next PlayStation supports ray tracing graphics, the first time a game console has ever managed graphics like it. They're usually used in Hollywood special effects and occasionally in high-end processors. It means users of the next-gen PlayStation will receive much better and more realistic visuals. It's also worth noting that while the PS5 will have all of these improvements, you don't need to worry about compatibility with PS4 games. The new console will still take physical discs, and gamers can still play PlayStation 4 games on the new console. Don't expect to be able to buy one in 2019. You'll have to wait until at least next year to see it on shelves, and we don't yet know how much it will cost.
So let me get this straight. The PS4 has a spinning hard drive?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can hear it.
$19.99. Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I still
It's
have
like-
my PS3 at home. I couldn't spend the money to upgrade to the PS4 because then I would lose all my access to my games.
Oh, because
it's
they
not-
weren't backwards compatible.
That's right.
Oh.
Yes.
So
Ouch.
Yeah.
So they've maybe improved that with the PS4 to PS5.
And the
I
PS4
would
to
think
PS4 Pro, those are backwards compatible too.
yeah.
So,
But still, I mean, it sounds quite.
Follow me, camera guy.
Right.
It still sounds like it's great, and I'm excited about that. The high-end graphics. It'd be interesting
Yeah.
to see what they do, and it'll be interesting to see if they pull out some sort of like AI graphics development in
Well-
the software for some games.
I'm excited for it to get even better because we just upgraded from a PS4 to a PS4 Pro, and like the sunlight beams in the games are just magnificent. Like it's such a cool graphics upgrade, just that alone.
Wow.
So here we are for the next one. I'm just
And I hear
yeah.
somebody unveiled last week that they're working on a 16K television.
Oh yeah.
16K.
Yeah,
I
you're
mean,
gonna-
this thing's like 17 feet wide. It's bigger than a bus.
It requires 2 stories.
2 stories of a building.
Yep.
What? Could you imagine? So you need a PS5 for that. Your PS3 probably won't provide the same resolution.
Probably
Exactly.
not, but I
Yeah.
still like my RetroPie.
Retro
That's
Pi for the
true.
win.
My
RetroPie.
Odroid
And
Go.
I was just going to say,
Yeah.
Odroid Go is like a hit at my house.
Yeah, I love it.
The
So
kids love it. I love it. Yeah.
Nintendo fans, you may want to update your bucket list. The world's first Super Nintendo theme park is set to open its doors next year. The $351 million venture will offer heaps of excitement for video game fans, promising state-of-the-art rides, interactive areas, shops, and restaurants. One particular highlight is sure to be the real-life Mario Kart race course, where pairs of riders will sit in carts running on a rail with one controlling drift and the other concentrating on power-ups and weapons. So keep your eyes peeled for those pesky bananas. The park will open at Universal Studios Japan in 2020 in time for the Tokyo Olympic Games. Nintendo and Universal Studios first unveiled the plans for the park back in 2015, but now they've revealed a sneak peek. It looks like, unsurprisingly, Mario will be the star of the show as the icon leads the charge and interacts with visitors. The teaser doesn't give away too much, but it does suggest that the decor will be very much like something directly out of the classic Mario games. This will be the first of 3 Super Nintendo theme parks to open, with plans currently in place to open 2 more in Hollywood and Orlando. Of course, a trip to Japan won't come cheap, but if you've already started planning for the visit to the Olympics, then you may want to leave space on the itinerary for this quirky day out.
Speaking of retro gaming,
Wow.
nice.
I think this is totally awesome.
Why did it take them so long?
I know. I'm really excited for the Orlando and Hollywood openings because that's a little bit
closer to
more
home.
accessible for me, but oh, this is going to be great. Watching the videos of people there is going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I can't help but wonder, though, if it may over time lose its novelty appeal.
Jeff, no.
Well,
Jeff, we're talking about RetroPie tonight.
Well, I know, but
our Odroid Go is so that we can play games from 1990.
I get that, but you would have to be aware of that era of gaming to really get the novelty of it. If that park is around 50 years from now, are people going to are my grandkids going to go, why is this so old looking?
Jeff, I don't want to think about a world where people don't know what Mario is.
I know. I just want to know if somebody legitimately slips on a banana, are they going to get upset, or are they just going to say this is totally
That
part
will
of
make an incredible lawsuit. Hey, let's take a real quick look at CoinGecko. This is what the crypto market looked like as of 1800 hours Eastern time on Wednesday. What is it? The 17th of April, 2019. Bitcoin, everything's losing here. So Bitcoin's down almost $50 at $5,222.99 US. Litecoin is down to $79.74. Ethereum $166.84. Monero is down to $68.09 per coin. The little guy, Stellite, is at 1.56 ten-thousandths of a cent, and Turtle Coin also dropping 0.4 ten-thousandths of a cent at 1.6. Don't forget, if you are going to invest in the cryptocurrency market, it is always volatile and never closes.
Big thanks to Roy W. Nash and our community of viewers for submitting stories to us this week. Thanks for watching the Category 5.tv newsroom. Don't forget to like and subscribe for all your tech news with a slight Linux bias. And for more free content, be sure to check out our website. From the Category 5.tv newsroom, I'm Sasha Rickman.
I'm Robbie Ferguson.
And I'm Jeff Weston.